Don't go until I'm ready.
Welcome to Creation Court, where decisions are made that affect everything on God's green earth. The Honorable Judge Juniper is presiding. You are all the jury, all rise.
You may be seated. I'm Judge Juniper, but some folks call me Judge Junie. Today, I'll be hearing the case of the state of Oregon versus invasive species. Court is now in session. You have all been sworn in. It's time for your opening statements.
Thank you, Your Honor. The prosecution will prove beyond a reasonable doubt that these three defendants need to be completely eradicated from the entire earth. These invasive species are a danger to life as we know it here in Oregon.
Your Honor, the defense will present a very different case today. These species are simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Each of them has a place where they naturally live and thrive. Eradication is a mistake and will damage all other ecosystems.
Two compelling cases. Prosecution, you're up first.
I call forward the Himalayan blackberry.
All right, but let me take off my coat first. Do you always keep the heat turned up this high?
Mr. Blackberry, please tell the court where your kind originally came from.
My ancestors were brought here from Asia. We joined our cousins, the native Oregon blackberry.
Is it true that you have not been welcome guests?
Well, it was such a nice place, and we didn't want to leave. We are growing vines, and we need fertile soil and water and sunlight to thrive. Oregon has lots of that, so we just got comfortable.
Definitely have a lot of water. Can you re-sprout from even a little bit of root that is left in the soil when someone tries to dig you up?
Well, Dad always said we were a little stubborn. It takes a lot to get rid of us.
When you grow to be large vines, what happens to other types of plants in the area?
Okay, you got me there. I admit that we do tend to push out other plants, and we block sunlight from reaching smaller plants. We just really hate waiting in line, don't you? Plus, we have sharp thorns, but hey, a vine's got to protect itself somehow, right?
Yeah. I've encountered some of your thorns before. I see no reason to allow you to live anywhere on Earth.
Defense, it's your turn.
Mr. Blackberry, is it true that you provide food for animals?
Yes, our berries are delicious and enjoyed by people and animals alike. And our flowers... And our flowers help pollinators survive.
I love Blackberry Jam. You're being framed. I said order in the court.
In Asia, are you a problem?
No, we are equipped to live in areas that have been disturbed or by riverbeds. Our family in Asia does very well there and lives in harmony with other species that are native to that area.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Let's hear from the next defendant.
Mr. Bullfrog, tell the court where your species came from.
My ancestors hail from back east, in a lot of places along the east coast of the United States.
How do you get along with native frogs in this area?
Those little guys, talk about wimps. We tend to be bigger and aren't so fussy about what we eat, so we kind of just take over the ponds and streams where the natives like to live. Survival of the fittest, right?
Maybe, maybe not. Isn't it true that females of your species can lay up to 20,000 eggs at a time?
I don't want to brag, but yeah. Most of those native frog species lay between 2,000 and 5,000. Mom always said we were overachievers.
All right, then what do you eat?
We aren't fussy. We'll eat pretty much everything that fits in our mouth. I know that makes it tough for natives, but hey, first come, first served, right?
Is it true that you will even eat your own young?
Hey, You try to raise 20,000 young'uns. If some of them get caught up in a sweep, well, they were too wimpy to begin with.
Besides hogging the food out here, do you endanger the native frogs in another way?
There is this virus that doesn't bother us, but it kills off the natives. Oh, and a fungus among us, too. It's not our fault that the natives aren't able to fight those off. Like I said, wimps.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Defense, you may question the defendant.
Mr. Bullfrog, why should you be allowed to live in Oregon?
Have you heard us sing? When we get together, that chorus of baritones is pretty impressive.
Aside from all the singing, what else do you do?
We eat lots of bugs, small animals that you don't like, mosquitoes, snakes, mice, you name it, we'll eat it.
And how do you help the ecosystems where you are considered native species?
As I said, we eat lots of bugs and small animals. We share resources with other species that are designed to live on the East Coast.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
How many times do I have to say this? Order in the court.
Okay, let's hear from our final defendant, the Scotch broom.
Scotch Broom, please tell the court where you came from originally.
When the early settlers came to this area from Europe, they brought us along.
And how do you get along with native plants here?
We're very good at spreading out anywhere we're planted, though I have to admit, the natives don't seem to like us very much.
And why is that?
I suppose it's because we tend to spread a lot and hog the food and water and sunlight that the natives need. Takes a lot to look this good.
Isn't it true that you cost Oregonians $40 million per year because of lost timber revenue and trying to get rid of you?
Well, if you're gonna put a number on it, I suppose.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Down with Scotch broom.
What did I ever do to you?
Nothing. I just really hate cleaning.
Quiet down, all of you. Any questions from the defense?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Broom, why did the early settlers bring you from Europe?
Well, if I do say so myself, I'm gorgeous. The settlers wanted a little reminder of home that would make their gardens beautiful.
How else have you been used in this area?
Before people figured out how much I tend to take over, we were planted to keep soil and dunes from eroding away. That was one job we did too well, though. People started to get frustrated when we overstayed our welcome.
Do you live with others in your native land?
Oh, we're very good neighbors with everyone on the block is suited to live together.
One question, if I may, Mr. Broom. Why are you wearing a skirt?
It's not a skirt, it's a coat.
Fair enough.
No more questions.
You may be seated, Mr. Broom. The prosecution may present their closing statement.
Thank you. Members of the jury, it is clear that these three invasive species have no place on our planet. They all crowd out native species by taking over land, hogging resources, and generally making life difficult for everyone else. The state is asking for all these species to be wiped off the face of the earth with no exceptions. I'm confident that you will make the best decision for the ecosystems in Oregon that cannot speak for themselves. Thank you.
I agree with my esteemed colleague that these species are not welcome in Oregon. However, before you sentence them to complete eradication, consider this. Looking at the earth as a whole system designed to work together for the good of all creation, these species do have a place somewhere in the whole world. Take a step back and consider the glorious creation that God said was very, very good. Think of it as a giant puzzle. When the pieces are put in the right place, you can see a beautiful picture. When the pieces are put in the wrong place, the picture is out of balance and parts of it are destroyed. Instead of destroying some individual pieces, let's simply make sure that they are placed where they belong. Every living thing has a place somewhere in the Earth's ecosystem. The challenge is to make sure that every living thing stays where it is best adapted to live with others. Please find the defendants to be in the wrong place, but not subject to complete destruction. Thank you.
You again. This better be important.
Don't worry, it is. I just want to make sure we're not talking about people from other places, right? If someone wants to come to Oregon from Asia or Europe or Africa or anywhere else on the planet, they're allowed to live here, right?
Of course they are. We're all equals in God's eyes. We're talking about plants and animals here.
Members of the jury, you have heard the evidence. Now it's time for you to share your verdict. Your choices are to commend these species to complete eradication or declare that they do not belong in Oregon, but do belong elsewhere on the planet. All those who are convinced these species must be exterminated entirely, please say yes. Now those who declare these species not welcome in Oregon but welcome elsewhere on Earth, please say yes.
Yes! The verdict is clear. The defendants are sentenced to not living in Oregon, but they are welcome to thrive in places that are better suited to their requirements. Thanks to everyone who participated in this process this morning. Court is adjourned.